really on the show. And remember yesterday, something quite sad happened in Arua City, where one drunk man was really mistakenly lynched for being a thief. And this is one thing that really happened in Adalafu within Arua City. I must say that was also quite sad. And also in the world of sports. And this is where something that really very bad happened. And this is where one of the teams from West Nile Sub-Region, that is Arua Hill Sports Club, has been demoted to the FIFA Big League. And that means that this season, Northern Uganda will not have a team that is representing at the start times Uganda Premier League. What does that mean for the region? I will be also talking about that in the later hour of the show. But really, to start off with the discussion, remember this is the dry season, the weather is still so cool, and we are not seeing any signs of rains. But now some of the areas are already hit by that is water shortage. And for those who have ever lived in this region, you know what that means. And that means that really people will have to move long distances, that is looking for water, and really they will also have to move at night in search of this water, which is really very bad. It comes with its own repercussions, where we witness that is early marriages and early pregnancies, which is really quite bad, because some of our sisters sometimes also pretend that they are going to fetch water, and yet in the reality they move actually to other places, which is quite sad. So I really want to say that is why this season sometimes is very bad. And so many other stories that really did transpire yesterday and the other day. And remember yesterday we did have the UPDF also really celebrating the Tarehe Sita in Arua City. I must say it was a qualifying event where we did witness the UPDF freely mixing with the citizens and the Wananchi really, and we also did see them giving back the Wananchi and moving through the streets. That was something I must say was quite commendable, because over time the relationship between the UPDF and other security agencies with the masses has always been distant. But yesterday we did see this happening, and we did see them march through most of the streets of Arua City with the brass band. Really, that was quite amazing to see UPDF really freely interacting. And remember, the national celebrations did take place, that is in Bugweri, and the president was actually in attendance, and he did talk a lot when it comes to socio-economic transformation and other issues, ranging from that is the prices of items here and there, and so many things also did happen there. And I must say, the generals that really attended this event, we are able to share the stories that did take place during that time. I will be able to also break more on that. Really, that is why you need to be part of the show. This is the Kokoliriko Live, and you can actually feel free to drop your comments from wherever you're watching us. For those of you streaming us online, that is on YouTube, feel free to drop your comment there. We shall be able to also really share with the rest of the viewers. And for those of you catching us on Zuku, and remember our Zuku channel number is 0073, and we do very much appreciate you for always watching. That is West Nile Television, and starting off your day to watching us, which is quite amazing, because this is definitely the show that is going to have an impact on you, and one that will leave you definitely as an informed person. So many things happened yesterday, both good and bad, I must say, but really something that really happened very bad, that was in Adalafu, was the killing of one of the locals there, who had gone to actually drink alcohol, that is Nondoparaka, but on his way back he failed to locate his house and really went and knocked somebody's house, and this man was beaten to death, which was something that I must say was quite bad. And the man only identified as Alhaji Mustafa, commonly known as Taban, who is a resident of, that is Adalafu Ambeko Cell, Adalafu Ward in Aivu Division in Arua City, was beaten by the locals, and really this was quite sad. And yesterday we went at the scene of crime, and the body by about 3 p.m. was still lying there, because after the stories really that circulated was the man was beaten by one of the locals there until death. And really the man kept on begging, "Don't kill me, I'm not a thief, please. I'm just somebody within the area," which is really quite bad. I don't know why sometimes people need to take the laws into their hands, which is really now coming with its own repercussions, because according to the information we got, the man failed to locate his house, and this was at around in the wee hours of, that is the day before yesterday, as he was heading back from the trading center, that is Nondoparaka, from drinking. And the man identified as Taban is a former UPDF soldier who had really also resigned. So this is something that I must say was quite sad to see, because the man is living within the same area, and where he was killed is also now a no-go zone for the killers. They have since escaped, and this is why I must say they leave sometimes the repercussions to the people who are innocent, because now it is the families to negotiate. Because by the time we went yesterday, it was now negotiations, and police had already brought back the body, and this man, who after killing, it is said that the killers, after killing this man, carried this man from where they killed him and to another location where they actually left him to die from, which was quite sad. And the LC1 of that area, when we did interact with him, he said this man, he got the information about this man being beaten by one of the soldiers also within the area, who called him and told him that there's something that is happening in his area, and this is where somebody was being beaten in a way that he, as if he's a thief. Let him come and rescue, but the LC1 also feared for his life, and really he said he would come in the morning. And when he came in the morning, he came and found out that this man was already killed. And now this is something sad. He had to call police, and also called, that is, the other area leaders to come and also solve this security issue that happened in this area now. This is where I must say it is quite sad, because really people need not to take the laws into their hands. The laws are very clear. If you find somebody whom you suspect is a thief, really, because sometimes also people do these things for different reasons, I do understand. They feel that maybe some of these people, these guys as thieves, they just want to pretend that they are thieves, or they are drunkards, which to me sometimes is also the case. But now somebody has lost their life. It is now the families now to see and to it that they resolve this thing, and this thing really happened in Narrow City. I must say it was quite regrettable, because now the killers have since left the area. They have escaped to where it is not known, and they have left the burden of now solving these issues to the families. And really, I did see families disagreeing here and there in terms of that is also find negotiations, because they needed to find negotiations for this man's burial expenses. As of yesterday, this man was put on the veranda where he was killed from, which was quite sad, because really you killed somebody and now the body is being placed at your veranda. You are causing trauma, and that is for your families, and now also the people that you relate with, which to me is quite shocking. So I think I want to implore people, when next time when there's certain issue of that caliber, we need to really resolve the issues amicably. We need to involve the law. And now also the LCs also need not to sleep on duty, because if such a thing happens to you, you have the right to call police and really say such a thing is happening. And now it is also the right duty of police to really ensure that they come timely to solve such issues. And this is where we also needed issues of the security LC systems within the LCs, where they used to be organized to really ensure that they do cases of that, they solve such cases of really such cases, which to me is quite good, because if maybe the area security system was in place, this issue would have been avoided, and one of them could actually come and really save this man and really say, maybe this man is not a thief. We know him for this and that. He is somebody who is doing this. He lives in such an area. He's not a thief. He's just a drunkard. Please, just leave him, which is really something I must say is one that happened so bad. And this is in Adalafo within Narrow City, just within Aivu, which I must say is very bad, because the families that really killed and the family and from where this man came from, they know each other. These are just not a far distance. We did see them actually talking and also saying certain things that maybe happened in the past. And this is where the good relationship came in to solve this issue. But now this is causing history which is going to be there for life. Because really, if you kill somebody right now, I must tell you, it is going to remain, that is for life. It is going to continue the way it is. And that will also really affect the future interrelations of the people, which to me, I must say, need not to be done. So I think people need to desist from cases of that is taking the law into their hands. Mob justice is never a solution. In case of such issues, we need to really involve the relevant authorities to address certain issues. And that really, I don't know why it is the case, but you can also really tell us why people still continue with the cases of mob justice despite the several campaigns and then several sensitization about the law that saying that really this is bad, because we have seen so many media platforms talking about mob justice. We have had community barazas, we have had on radios, we have had on televisions, we have had on papers that mob justice is never a solution, but people still continue with cases of mob justice, more so in the rural areas. We are talking about a rural city. If you move to most of the areas, people are being murdered for small issues. So I think there's need for such issues of mob justice really to be addressed. Other than that, that would also really greatly impact on that is really how people interrelate. Because the relationship that you're creating right now, which is bitter, will continue and really affect your families in future, because certain issues really don't just go away like that. You know, mistakes committed by the elders in most cases also really affect sometimes the young generation. So I think this issue needs to be resolved amicably, and the families need now to sit down and really ensure this man is buried. That would also really greatly impact on that is the interrelation. So I think what they agree upon needs also to be paid, because this person who did, the culprit who really killed him, also really did admit, I think, did admit and said he killed him because this is where the incident happened at his door. So I think this is something I must say is very, very bad. We need to really move away from cases of that is mob justice. Other than that, we are going to be continuing and causing bitter relationship between us and our families. So which to me is one thing that we need to really move away from, because mob justice is never a solution. That is something that we need to move away from. I'm moving away from that. Schools in Moyo District, school administrators are calling for, that is the capitation grant, as school already resumes for 2024 academic year. So I think the capitation grant is the support that really is being given to the schools, and this is where the schools really also need to get monies to really fund their necessary activities. So that capitation grant really helps schools a lot. And in Terego, I must say, this is where I've interested myself due to the further disintegration of the administrative units. Some of the schools have really remained in Terego, but the capitation grant really keeps going to, that is Madiokolo. And really, this has always been a challenge, and this has always been a complaint by most of the leaders of Terego district. So I think there's also need for the issue of the capitation grant to be addressed. Other than that, because some of the schools really, you find they are in they're in Terego district, schools like Renocamp, Renocamp Primary or Renocamp SS, really the capitation grant really keeps on going to, that is Madiokolo. And now over time, we have seen the Terego district leaders complaining about this, that it is Terego district that pays the capitation grants, but the schools are really that side. So I think there's need for this issue to be resolved. So I think government needs to come up clearly and resolve that issue really between, that is Terego and Madiokolo. Now some government primary schools in Moyo district are grappling with inadequate resources. So I think this is where they are really demanding for this money as first term opens. And this also goes back to you as the parent. How are you supporting the schools? Because now the schools are grappling with inadequate finances, because really the schools need monies for buying chalks, for paying the teachers, really for also doing small things, such that the term can smoothly run. Without money, this is where our schools still continue performing the way they do. So I think there's need for parents and really other stakeholders to ensure that they support these schools. That would also really improve on the academic performance of this region. Because remember, we are a region that is still grappling with poor academic performances. Really, there's need now for the parents to really support the schools. Because one factor that has been attributed to the poor performance in this region has been the limited support from the parents. And really, I do remember parents are one of the stakeholders, because they have the mandate of paying the school fees. The UPE is there, but sometimes really parents over-rely on UPE rather than really support the schools. You need to really come out and really pay for the PTA funds, such that these monies can also really help cater for other small things at the school and motivate the teachers. Other than that, if we really continue to rely on the PTA and other grants, which do not come timely, then our teachers will continue really being idle, and they will continue really staying on at the training centers. They will continue going for these other small jobs from which they can earn money, rather than keep them busy with learners at school. So I think there's need for teachers to be supported. The schools also really equally need to be funded. So I think there's need for these people to really get the capitation grant. The Minister for that is Primary Education, Joyce Kaduku-Moriku, also did issue a stern warning to these schools that really, if we are going to give you this money, we expect results. And that is quite good, because they demand really at times accountability for these monies. Because if these monies are not really put into proper use, then we are bound to be seeing cases of people not really utilizing the funds, and then people misusing the funds at the same time, which to me is quite bad. So I think there's need for schools really to ensure that they really use the money properly, because these monies are meant there to really also cater for the education needs. Because our learners go to these schools, they need to learn. But in most cases, our parents are still very much affected by this thinking that the UPE is there totally free. Really not. The UPE is there, but then we equally need to really support it and motivate the teachers, such as building for them schools and really paying for these small monies would actually really encourage them to work harder. And that to me is one way that we are going to motivate the teachers. So I think there's need for the teachers to get the capitation grant. The capitation grant is actually one that will be able to really help the schools. So I think we are going to be running for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we shall be able to expound with the discussions from there. We still have lots more. I remember I did tell you about the issues of sports, and one of our teams, that is Arua Hill Sports Club, that was representing the entire northern region at the StarTimes Uganda Premier League, has been demoted to the FUFA Big League, and this is really a shocking revelation, which to me really needed not to happen that way, because this was the only team that was representing the Northern Uganda at the Southern Premier League. And now we are not going to be having a team that is at the Southern Uganda Premier League, but now when it comes to, that is the FUFA Big League, we are going to have quite many. West Nile alone will have 3 teams. What does this mean with the division among the fans, really? Because all the teams will have to go with their fans. But yesterday, really, before this shocking revelation came, Roy Hill actually had communicated something which to me was quite good, and really called for unity among the fans. And this to me was really the way to go, which I felt amazed about. And I must say, we are going to be discussing more on that discussion in the later hour of the show. So I think just be part of the show. And something also really happened to Onduparaka Football Club. And Onduparaka has been summoned by FUFA. All that will be actually be told to you, that is in the evening of the show. And later on, Owen Ezaga, Linda Suzy, plus Orakus Benson will also come through with the whistle time and really give you more detailed analysis of that. So for now, let me first run in for a short commercial break, and when I return back, we still be able to communicate and really continue with the discussion. For now, let me take a short commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on Star Times. Star Times brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023, live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your Star Times subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. Star Times, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break. This is still the Kokoliriko live show, and we are continuing with you up the hour of that is 9 a.m. And really feel free to drop your comments on what we are discussing here and what you really feel and really what you think we can do about certain issues that we discuss here. You have the platform really to share with us and really tell us on how we can really help the society, because we are here as West Nile Television to enlighten the region, and one way we are going to enlighten the region is actually through talking about issues that really happen within the society, and that is where also you can be part of the agents of change, and that is through also sharing your ideas. Really, we did discuss about issues of that is the mob justice, where somebody was really mistaken for a thief, and this was a drunk man, and really this drunkard was really lynched to death, and that was something that we did discuss a lot about in the first quarter of the hour. So I think we also did talk about that is also the capitation grant being demanded by schools, and now schools are complaining. Something I didn't tell you was that schools are complaining that this money is come very late, so that sometimes it also affects their progress of that is how the term runs. So I think there is need for this money to be that is disbursed, that is timely, so that these schools can actually plan for themselves, and that is where also really I did talk to you extensively about. And remember also yesterday was a very big day that is in the history of that is the UPDF. This was the Tarehe Sita celebrations that did take place countrywide. So I think over the country we did have celebrations for this, but the national celebrations did take place in Bugweri, where we did see so many dignitaries really coming in place to see to it that they attend this event. So that was something I must say was quite amazing, as we did see happening in Bugweri there, where we witnessed so many police commanders, so many army commanders, so many army generals really coming up to attend. One person that was notable in attendance was the former police commander, that is Kalika Uhura. He was actually around, and we did see him also really, and other former UPDF soldiers really interacting freely, which was something I must say was really quite good. And we also did see Jim Mwez, and he also really talked about he reflected back about really how the days in that time were. And we also did have so many other soldiers really countrywide also sharing the experiences of this day. So because the 6th of February is one day that is quite important in the history of that is UPDF, because this is the day where the 41 men actually went in the bush and really started the operations that is against the government of that is Obote. So I think this is where also really this happened, and the president actually did praise some countries. For instance, he did praise that is Tanzania for offering that is military assistance, and also really giving them the necessary equipment, and that is towards the beginning of that is the war and the struggle. So I think this is where he also did really talk about. So I think this is one thing that he didn't talk about, he didn't leave talking about. And remember, Tanzania through the president that is Nyerere actually offered that is really support to that is that is President Museveni to see to it that really he takes over power. And for those who know the history of this country between Tanzania and Uganda, actually Tanzania played a great role that is in the overthrow of that is the Idi Amin government. So I think this is something that he was actually praised for, and that is why maybe we do have the peaceful coexistence and then the peace that we do enjoy in this country between ourselves and the neighbors that is Tanzania. So I think that is where maybe it comes from. So to just talk about that, that is one thing that we did see quite many amazing. And when it comes to Arua City, we did see also the UPDF that is camping at their barracks, and we did see civilians posing next to the UPDF trucks, which to me, I did see so many photos really circulating. This event was actually very colorful. We did see politicians standing up for this event. We also saw the Wananchi really coming together closely to the UPDF. We did see so many pressure groups. And remember, when you talk about the pressure groups in Arua, we have quite many. We have Ghetto, we have this Arua City, we have that. There are quite many really MK project. These are all pressure groups. We did also see them really coming in attendance, and to see to that they also be part of this Tarehe Sita celebrations, which is the 43rd edition, with the national celebrations that was held yesterday in Bugweri. Arua City was actually also part. And Arua City also, I must say, also did take part in these celebrations, where we did see so many photos. But one thing I must say, when you talk about the photos, one of the legislators really from this northern Uganda also really did take a photo that is in the attire of the UPDF, which did not go well with some people. We did see some of the opposition leaders actually posting and really saying their members are being arrested for that is camouflage, but then the member of parliament is not being arrested, and this is where people play a lot with that is the UPDF attire, which he said for them they have been arrested with their barricades. When they put on their red berets, they have been arrested, and really when they're putting on their blue thing, either maybe green, maybe yellow, any blue, I don't know. They have been really also being, that is, threatened. But now somebody is freely putting on the UPDF attire labeled, and nothing is being done to them. So that is where we didn't see so many people complaining. And I must say the social media was flooded, that is, with comments about this. So really I think there's need for people to really come together and sometimes understand that certain things maybe happen for different reasons. So I think that is where I will be able to sort of not live out, because it was a nice thing really to also see people joining with the UPDF and really the civilians coming to understand about this day, because on this day also we did see the history about the UPDF being given out, the Tarehe for the 3rd edition, which to me was colorful if you really looked at what happened. In Arosti we did see rains, but in Bugweri we did see actually it raining that side. That could be a sign of blessing, because we did see rains really happening that side. But in this, the one for Arua City, nothing really bad happened. The weather was good, and really the weather is still good, I must say. And that is why people who are still doing the brickwork need to really ensure that they hurry with it, because during this period here, I do understand that this is when some people are still doing their brickworks. And remember of late, like about 2 times it has been raining, so this has actually been causing pressure for those who have been doing this job. But now I must say you can still continue with the work, and you can actually really continue doing it fast as possible. So I think there's need for you to now continue hurrying, because if you don't hurry, then definitely that would also really affect you, and really that is why we need to also engage ourselves and also talk about briefly, because if that is not the case, then definitely you will be able to certainly be worried about that. And now moving away from that, government is now seeking for shillings, that is 228 billion, to set up 3 cancer centers. Remember yesterday we did talk about extensively about the cancer, which is really affecting so many people that is in the country, and really the facility is also overwhelmed by the numbers of people. If you look at what is happening at Uganda Cancer Institute Mulago, then you will be able to sort of see a reason why government needs to establish these 3 centers. And now the Uganda Cancer Institute, the body mandated to undertake and coordinate cancer management in the country, has said it needs about $60 million US, that is to really an equivalent of that is 227.8 billion to establish 3 cancer regional centers. So where are these going to be established? That is a question somebody could be asking. I must say Arua will be having one, that is also here, and then Mbale, Mbarara, and that is not forget that those are the 3: Mbale, Mbarara, and Arua City. Arua City actually will be having one. These are regional centers that really to really see that there is decongestion at what is happening at Mulago, because cancer cases are very many today. And actually yesterday I did talk to you about what causes cancer, really, some of the high causes of cancer, really, and that is where I did talk to you about. So I think cancer is now very much, but there's need for people to also really protect themselves from cancer now. Early checkup is the way to go, because doctors have over time said if there's early diagnosis of the cancer disease, it can be treated, it can be really, it can be contained. But now once it is too late, which is the most cases, which is actually why some people really die to this disease, we tend to discover very late. Sometimes really that is why we face challenges with the disease. So Dr. Jackson Oriem, the Uganda Cancer Institute Executive Director, said the money would be used to build the centers, that is in the 3 places I mentioned earlier on. He said the first regional center, which has been established, is in Gulu, has started handling some patients ahead of planned, that is official commissioning this year. And that is quite good. If Gulu is now having, Aru also needs to have one, because sometimes people are forced to move from here to really Mulago. And that means that if, in the meantime, as the construction works are going on, people can still embrace the nearest, that is Gulu. So I think it is quite good, and that is why we also need to commend the government for, and really say there's still a lot more, there's still more that needs to be done in terms of establishing all these cancer centers, such that the services can be brought closer to the people. And really, if you move to Mulago, you find that people really spend a lot of money, and really when it comes to the treatment, definitely people really suffer very a lot. So I think there's need, as information from Uganda Cancer Institute indicates, that There are around 34,000 new cancer cases registered in Uganda every year, but the majority do not access care in designated treatment centers or present for late treatment. That is one thing I must say we did talk about, because for people who really tend to get that they have cancer, it is in most cases people who have money, because people who have the money is to really go and check themselves. What about the poor? Where are we leaving the poor who do not actually have money to really ensure that they go for checkup for themselves? That is why government needs to really come out and establish these 3 centers urgently, which to me I feel if it is done so, then the services will be improved. And that way we shall be able to really see people really benefiting from this. So I think there's need for people really to embrace the government towards support, towards really also supporting this cause. And as a result, around 21,300 cancer deaths happen in the country yearly, according to Uganda Cancer Institute figures. If you look at that, is 21,300 every year. That is quite a huge number of the population really dying to this disease. What does this mean? It means that people are getting presenting late with the cancer disease, and it also means that people go for these checkups lately, and that means that sometimes they do not access these services. So that is why there's need for people to really ensure that when these cancer centers are established, we need to embrace and we need to go for early checkup. That would also really improve on people's health, and that would also really reduce on the number of deaths. Because if you look at 21,300, this is quite huge. I must say this is a huge number. Just imagine every year 21,000 people are dying, and these numbers continue to increase. And I must say these numbers, this is happening each and every year. These are statistics maybe that could have been captured. What about the uncaptured? Because sometimes people die to cancer when they do not even know. That is one thing I must say is really happening, and that is why government needs to come out urgently and now support this cause. And that would also really improve on that is the health of the people, because cancer really continues to claim innocent lives. Really, some people die miserable to this disease. If you have moved to really Mulago, you will know why I'm talking about this. Really, one time I had my auntie who is now a late at this cancer institute, but really the pain of patients, really what they go through, I must say we just need to have prayers, because cancer is a dangerous disease. But now once if it is early detected, doctors have over time said it can be treated and it can be contained. So I think that is the one thing that we need to do, and we also need to ensure that we protect ourselves from. And other than that, we are going to be running for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we shall be able to pick up with the conversation from there. My name is Farish Majid. This is still the Kokoliriko live show on West Nile TV that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays, but you can really feel free to drop your comments on maybe what you feel we need to talk about, or maybe what we have discussed on the show. For now, it's a short commercial break. When we return back, we shall be able to check up on some of your comments and share with the rest of the viewers. For now, allow me running for a short commercial break. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023 live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, welcome back from that short commercial break, and you are most welcome for the Kokoliriko live show. Mr. Komaket, we do appreciate you very much for that comment, and really say you should continue watching Western television, because this is the only show that will let you know, and the rest of the people out there to know of what is happening. So that is why we need to always watch Western television, because this is the only platform where you will also really be knowing of what is happening. And so many things did happen yesterday, where we did also see the results for the LDC bar course being released. And out of the results that were released, out of 2,087 students who enrolled for an advocate bar course at the Uganda Development Center, I must say in the academic year that was 194 are required to sit for the exams, and that is really quite shocking there. So all these that have failed, you can still go back and resit, and that would also really improve. Maybe it could be your next time to pass, because if you file them right now, you can still pass. That is not the end of the life. So I think the lawyers who failed the exams, you are still the lawyers. We call you the lawyers because you have the degrees. Because for you to really go and sit for this exam, or for you to enroll, you must have, that is the degree. So we still continue calling you the lawyers, but really there is need for you to now go back and sit. And according to an examination results, that is circular issued by LDC director, that is Frank Nigel Othembi, students will access their academic results via their respective portals starting 2 p.m. on Wednesday, which is today. And Othembi noted that students from LDC Mbarara campus scored highly compared to their counterparts, that is of Kampala and Lira campuses. Because if you look at all these LDC centers, there are about three. One in Mbarara, there's one in Kampala, and then there's that one of Lira City. So those that sat in Mbarara did perform very well. Now the LDC performances, statistics from the year, that is 2022, indicate that at Mbarara campus, 224 students passed, and that is 286 will have to sit for supplementary exams, while 120 failed the course. At the Kampala campus, 398 students passed, 488 are to sit for supplementaries, and 305 failed. Meanwhile, at Lira campus, that registered the least number of successful students, where 79 students passed the bar course, 120 are required to sit for the supplementaries, while 67 failed the course. And Othembi has urged students required to sit the supplementary exams to register with their respective campuses, adding that they will commence February 24th, that is of 2024. So I think there is need for now, for those who have still really failed and need to sit for the supplementaries, to start preparing. And it added that the students with supplementary examinations, that is in category S, subjects will sit examinations with students of academic year 2023, so 2024. Othembi further noted that students who missed an examination or other assessment for a good cause like illness, finances, and incapacity, among other reasons, should write a formal letter to the academic registrar requiring to be allowed by the board of examiners to sit for a special examination or the other missed assessments. And students who failed and willing to repeat the bar course also advised to apply during the academic year or the subsequent years. The graduation, the preparations for the graduation have already been released, and all eligible graduates will be honored during physical graduation ceremonies at their respective campuses. That will be on April, that is 12th of 2024, and also really from Barara campus, that is from Barara campus, April 19th for Kampala campus. Meanwhile, Leader campus students shall graduate on that is April 26th of 2024. Best performance, we did see the results also being released. The bar also released the results for that is for the best 20 students in the 2023 academic year for the bar course, and out of the 20 students, 12 are females and 8 are males. What does that mean? Why is that ladies beat males when it comes to such results? Really, because these exams are over time one that has been feared mostly by men, because really, and really by ladies I mean, because really they feel that maybe it is the ladies, maybe the men who can actually do certain things. But now we are seeing ladies beating males, because really if you look at these results, an assessment, and the best performance actually, there's one, Agnes Aine Linda, who emerged as the overall best students, scoring a CGPA of that is 4.80, followed by Vivian Ashabuena, that who scored 4.70 CGPA. Meanwhile, Sobra Mpungu, the third best performer with CGPA of 4.0. Those are the best 3 students, and all these are ladies. Really, what does this mean? Why is that men are still continuing to really be that very loud down? So in terms of these exams, so I think there's need. This is where I think women empowerment is working, and that is why also that shows that women are more serious than men today. But really, this is why also really it could be the opposite of what is happening in this region, really, where women tend to get married so early. So I think there's need for our ladies also to really have a reflection on such indications and such results that they can actually achieve and become who they want to become. And that means that the sky is only the limit. But in most cases, our ladies, when it comes to West Nile sub-region, also really have that negligence, and they feel the best thing they can do maybe is get married, and which to me is totally wrong. And that calls for mindset change, and that calls also for constant sensitization about this. And that is why we also need to really sit down with our ladies and our stakeholders. We need to tell the ladies that they can actually become who they want to become. They can become the lawyers that they want to become. They can still become the doctors. They can still become the engineers. They can still become the physical planners. They can still become anything they want. They can actually become the members of parliament. They can become the ministers. So I think there is need for women emancipation, and this is where it is working. And that is why also really we need to also talk about this. And this is why we need to also really come out and clearly talk about this, because these exams, we have seen women, actually ladies, beating men, and that is really quite shocking, because this LDC bar course is one that guarantees somebody as a complete lawyer, because this is where you'll be able to solely get a practicing certificate from. So I think for those that failed, really there's need maybe for you to really go back and sit. And for those who passed, we really very much congratulate you. And really moving away from that now, let's move now within the West Nile sub-region. Still, West Nile welcomes its first bishop for the Born Again Church. And really this is something that really also did talk about. And in a significant milestone for the West Nile sub-region, the Right Reverend, that is Gabriel Kadilu Mau, was on Monday consecrated as the inaugural bishop under the National Fellowship of the Born Again Church, and the ceremony was held at the headquarters in the Ajuman district. This marked a momentous occasion for the region's Christian community. Really, this is something also really we talk about, because the born again, really sometimes people really do not know who they are, and really in most cases, when you talk about born again, people really tend to very much run to the hallelujah. I don't know why, but really I must say, this happened now. They have welcomed, West Nile has already welcomed its first bishop, and that is for the Born Again Church. And now what has slide ahead of him? So I think there's need, he has a lot to do in terms of really bridging the gap that is between them, the religion, and the other people that actually subscribe to the religion. So I think there's need for him to bring all these churches together, because if you look at the born again churches, really people sometimes have negative stereotypes about this religion. So I think he has the mandate, he has the role of bridging that gap, and he has the task of now telling the public who exactly the born agains are and what they are really doing. So I think expressing gratitude and a sense of divine fulfillment, Archbishop Moses Odongo of the National Fellowship of the Pentecostal Church heralded the appointment as the culmination of the journey marked by waiting, preparation and prayer. He emphasized the need for Bishop Kadoli to remain steadfast in adhering to the truth of God amidst the challenges of the world. So I think that is where also I was talking about, because the world sometimes comes with its own challenges, and that is why we need to now also sit with that. We talk about this, and really, because as West Nile, one thing that really, if one of us really raised the flag very high, we are very proud of them, and that is really why we back them sometimes, and that is why we are also here to also talk about this, because as West Nile, if we continue raising our flags very high, and that makes us proud. And remember, when the results were being released, I said something here, when the results are released and if they are good, as West Nile, we are all proud. But when the results are very bad, we start moving with our heads down, which is really quite bad. So I think that is one thing that we are still following up on. And now moving away from that to Dokolo, where these preparations are now in high gear for that is the Dokolo Women's Seat Member of Parliament by-election. And yesterday, the Opposition Forum for Democratic Change endorsed that is Miss Rosemary Aloch Ogwal, the first daughter of that is the late Honorable Cecilia Ogwal, to carry the party flag that is for Dokolo Woman Member of Parliament seat. So I think the by-elections are already in preparations. And if you remember, on February 5th, the top officials from that is FDC Northern Nkumbi faction held a closed-door meeting with that is Miss Aloch and her family, from which they assured her of their support in replacing her, the late. So I think all this comes back because over time people have been really doubting where the lady could go, because at one time people thought she was crossing to the UPC where her mother started her journey from. At one time also we did see people also thinking that she would cross over to the ruling government, that is of the National Resistance Movement. But yesterday now she came out clearly now to say that she is going to aspire under FDC where her mother died from. So I think this is quite good. We did see it happening there, because this has been actually leaving the people in suspense, because people did not know. Over time she had not communicated where exactly she will be subscribing to, but because she has the freedom to go anywhere, even if she wanted to go to the National Unity Platform or she wanted to go to FDC, she wanted to remain with the FDC where her mother belonged, she was still entitled. And even if she wanted to move to the National Resistance Movement Party, still that was her own mandate, because she's a grown-up and she has the ideas and she has freedom of expression and freedom of attachment to any political party. So I think she's not limited, and she chose that is to move with the FDC, which was really clarified yesterday. And reports that now indicate that Miss Aloch will run. This is where the reports have been circulating, that now it is clear that Miss Aloch will be running, that is under the FDC ticket. So I think we are now preparing for the by-elections. We shall be able to also really keep you updated of what is happening in that by-election there. That is why you need to also always watch West Nile Television, because definitely this is the show that will definitely have an impact on you and really let you know of what is happening within the entire northern Uganda and the world at large. So I think there's need for that. And now moving away from that, I must also say there's good news. And which good news am I talking about? Over time, people have been talking about recruitment to join the forces. And now yesterday, Uganda Police Force actually came out clearly and said they are going to recruit the people into the forces. These are probation constables. So I think that is where people who have been wanting to join the forces, the opportunity is now coming for you to really also be part of the exercise if you really want to also join the forces, because these are people who are going to really be recruited, and more than 2,500 people are going to be recruited. So I think that is quite good. It's also good news for those who really have wanted over time to become police officers, because in most cases there are people who really love the forces, just for different reasons. For them, they love the forces, others love the UPDF. I have colleagues who have told me if there's any chance really, if there's anything that they wanted to become, they have always wanted to become police officers. For those, there's also some that have told me over time they have always wanted to become UPDF soldiers. So meaning that there are people who really love that attachment to the forces, and that is why they willingly at times also join the forces, because for you to join the forces it is voluntary, where you're not forced. So I think Uganda Police Force announced the recruitment exercise in which they seek to recruit, that is 2,500 probation constables. And in an advert issued on that was on Tuesday by the Human Resource Director, that is AIGP Brigadier Jesse Kanmuire. The police said they will start tomorrow, that is February 7 until 18th. That is when they will be receiving applications from Ugandans aged between 18 years and 23 years. So meaning if you fall under that category, you are still entitled to join and really become the police officer that you have over time wanted. And these are still quite simple. And for you to join, you just need simple requirements. And the applicant must be a Ugandan citizen with a valid national ID and must have no criminal record, and should be ready to undertake, that is basic training, that is both for physically and mental training. So I think you need to really also be part of that for those who have really wanted to become the officers that they want to become. So that is why really If you want to become the officers, then this is the time for you. This is actually the very right time for you maybe to start preparing. That is maybe in terms of organizing yourself to be physically fit. And that is maybe when you will be able to really become the officer that you want to become. Because if you are not fit, because you're going to be subjected to, I must say, you're going to be subjected to, that is fit mental and physical tests, where you have to run long journeys, where you have to be, that is really put under several tests. So for you, if you talk about that, then definitely that would also really greatly impact on you. You may fail the interview because of that, and really also they will be able to do medical tests on you, because for you to join the forces, you have to be somebody who is medically fit, because sick people cannot join the forces, and that is why also really I must say we need to talk about. And that is one thing we are not going to leave out and really also talk about, because so many other stories continue to be circulating on the various media for us here and there, and that is one thing I must say we cannot exclude out, because if you talk about that, then definitely we cannot leave out, because so many people have been always wanting to join the forces, and that is why we need to also tell them that the right time maybe has come for them, and the opportunity has also come for them, maybe for those who have failed over time to join the forces. Maybe this is also maybe the right platform, and that is why we need to also talk about it. Moving on from that, lawyer and CSOs want city woman MPs kicked out of parliament. Why is that happening? This is one of the stories that I will be talking to you also about this morning here. And human rights defenders have asked the Constitutional Court to order city women representatives to vacate their seats in parliament, immediately saying their legislative role is non-existent and offends the Ugandan law. So I think, why are they saying this? In the petition filed before, that is the Constitutional Court on Tuesday, a lawyer and 2 civil society bodies claim that the creation of 20 more constituencies out of the cities by Parliament and the Electoral Commission in 2020, more than 12 months after March 2020, that is March 23rd of 2016, publication of the National Population Census is inconsistent with the constitutional purviews. So I think this is something also really we cannot really exclude out. Why are they wanting the city women representatives kicked out? And who will be able to really lead these women that we're talking about? Because if you look at women, if you really move to the cities, the most of the population, I must say, is the women. And if you really move around, you will see the women are really doing the ones that do a lot of things, maybe in the markets, and then other places you will find it is mostly the women. Even if you move to the business section, more so in those small businesses, you will find they are mostly dominated by women. So really kicking these representatives out, who will be able to really echo the views of these women, because their views are being represented by by their leaders. So what does this mean? So I think these lawyers are really also really demanding for that, and this is their own opinion, because if you feel you're not appreciative of something, you have the right maybe to go to court and petition, and that is why they have done so. So city lawyer Peter Magale, that's Guayaka, jointly with the civil society organizations Alliance for Finance Monitoring and Walezi wa Kitiba Foundation, petition that the Constitutional Court against, that is the Attorney General and Uganda's Electoral Commission. So I think this is where they are also going to be doing that. And it is alleged that the cities and municipalities were created by the government under the Local Government Act, and act for purposes of local government administration and service delivery, and not for representation. Now the petitioners want an order that's prohibiting Uganda's electoral body from conducting election of the city women representatives. So in a sworn statement, Alliance for Finance Monitoring Executive Director Henry, that is Muguzi, states that the Ugandan constitution specifically referred to one women representative per district and not a city. What does this mean? So but a city really cannot be without representatives, because who are going to really echo the views of these women? Because really I feel we need also to really ensure that we talk about this, because if that is not the case, then how are these women going to be represented? That is something that we cannot really also really talk about. But you can share your opinions with us, and also really think, or maybe we'll share your ideas of what you think about this lawyer and then the civil society organizations that are really trying to petition for these city women MPs to be kicked out of parliament. What do you really think about that? Because they are saying these were created for, but not for representatives. Now they're asking Electoral Commission to stop organizing elections for these women leaders. What does this mean to you? And what do you think about this? That is one thing that we cannot also really continue or leave talking about. And moving away from that, still within Uganda, and this is now in central Uganda, still in education related, and Makerere issues tough guidelines ahead of guild campaigns. And remember, the Makerere University elections over time have been marred with violence, where people have been killed, where people have been tear gassed, where people have lost people have become deformed. So I think there's need now for this electoral commission, for government now to also really ensure that they bring this down, because what happens there, maybe we have the scenarios that we have been seeing there over time have been there for quite some time, year in, year out. We tend to witness similar cases when it comes to election. Why is that the case? So I think they have been issued tough guidelines, and according to the guidelines, in an attempt to uphold that is a fair and peaceful electoral process, Makerere University has released a set of regulations that is for Guild presidential aspirants as they prepare to canvass for votes. So I think in a letter dated that is on February 5th of 2024, Guild electoral chairperson, that's Mr. Ramadan Chirunda, said the guidelines seek to maintain order and ensure peaceful campaign period. According to him, all discussions known as Bimeza, rallies and physical campaigns, among others, have been banned, and each guild presidential aspirant shall move with no more than 15 people while moving between different places of residence and colleges. And this is what the instruction is saying. And rallies inside and outside campuses are also forbidden, while campaigning hours are limited. That is from 7 a.m. that is 9 a.m., ensuring a standardized time frame for all candidates. And aspirants are also forbidden from affiliating with any political party, as provided that is in section 6 subsection 2 of the Makerere University Students Guild Statute. So I think that is where the issues are coming, and these are all recommended regulations that to see to it that the elections move peacefully. And affiliation maybe what we have been seeing, because in most cases people have been affiliated to certain parties, and this is, but really, are you going to stop them? Because if somebody chooses the color, people will still be able to know. Even if you stop them from talking about certain things, I feel this will also really, people will still talk about certain things. It will not limit them from talking about certain issues. So I think this will work, but it will also really work with, that is, with some recommendations and really maybe some guidelines, and that would also really also mean a lot. So I think that is one thing that we are still following up on, and to see to that maybe who will be able to win, because that is something that we do not know. Who will be able to really win the next election, and who is actually destined for the next guild seat is something that we do not know. But we have already seen so many photos circulating, so many videos, so many people campaigning, that is at the different campuses. We have seen them, but really we are following up on, and some of them have actually become celebrities before these elections. But I will be able to tell you maybe when the right time comes and who exactly wins, and that is something that we do not know at the moment as we continue to follow up on this, because we do not know exactly who is destined for that position, and who will be able to really win it is something that we do not know as we continue to follow up on, because we do not know yet and who exactly will be able to be the next guild president of Makerere University, because really we do not know who exactly, but really so many things are being talked about. And really I want to appreciate each and everybody watching us at this hour of the morning. I want to appreciate that is Twaha Wachawaseme. I want to appreciate that is also Andama Alfred, and he's saying so amazing. I do appreciate, not forgetting, that is Isaac Komakech, and he's saying that his comment there, and really I very much also want to appreciate each and every all of you for dropping those comments and really also sharing with us. And that is why we also come in place to also share this or your comments with the rest of the viewers, because the comments are also there also for you to also be part, and also think of maybe what you think about the discussions, and you can as well as share maybe a hint on some of the topics that we are discussing here, because you also need to share your ideas and maybe what you think, and then how that would also really impact on, because we are here to that is have an impact on society, and that is why we come with all these things. And we have to also talk about this, because if we do not really talk about certain issues, and then definitely nobody is going to talk about them, because we are here to change the society, and one way we are going to transform the society is actually through talking about issues that really affect us here. Because remember, this is a time, and remember we are at a time also where children are going back to school, where we have seen some schools increasing on the fees, and the hikes in school fees is already impacting on some parents. And we are also going to also see some of the learners changing schools here and there, because the parents may not be able to really afford maybe some of the school fees that has been increased. And that is why also to you, the learners, if your parent is telling you that I'm going to change you to a school that is a bit cheaper, really you also need to take it in good faith, because sometimes the parents are struggling a lot, and this is to the learners. Let's take it in good faith. Let's understand that things are not well, and if things are well, we'll be able to really continue with the schools that we are living in. Because if you don't really abide by this, you are going to be having conflicts between your families, and this is where mothers may not actually accept for their children to be changed from one school to another. They will be able to complain about certain things, that because really it is time now for parents to sit together and tell their children children that we are doing this for this reason, but really at times parents also really do not sit with their children. They pass decrees, which to be also is one that causes sometimes disagreements between the parents and also the children, and that is why I must say, as children are returning back to school, for those who have already returned, we do appreciate you parents so much for sending them back to school, and for those who are still with the parents home, let us struggle very much hard and ensure that we send them back to school, because today is the third day. This is the first week, but I must say today is already the third day. Some schools have actually already begun with serious business, and that is teaching the learners. So for the legends who really do not want to go to school in the first weeks, thinking that the learners will not learn, I must tell you, you will be able, so you will be a legend in failing if you really do not go back to school today. If you start taking yourself as a legend and saying that I will be able to return to school maybe after 1 week or maybe after 2 weeks, you will be able to be also a legend when the results are released, and you will fail. And that is why I must warn each and everybody to ensure that they return back to school timely, because if the time is now, then definitely the time for serious business is also now. So it is time that you return back to school and ensure that you really also start engaging, that is in serious academics. And now moving away from that, I must also talk about some story here. DPP officially takes over, that is Bitature and wife case. And remember, businessman, the director of public prosecutions has officially taken over the prosecution of, that is a case in which Ugandan businessman, that is Patrick Bitature, and his wife Carol Nzaro faced criminal charges related to a shillings 26 million US dollar commercial dispute with South African money lender, that is Vantage Mezzanine Fund 11 Partnership. So I think that case has always been there, and now the chief state attorney, that is Joanne Keko, Tuesday told court that DPP has officially taken over the case in the presence of all parties. She asked the private prosecutor, that is furnishes the deputy, she asked the private prosecutor furnishes the DPP's office with all the necessary documents and information pertaining the matter, and for purposes of further investigations and acquainting themselves with evidence to rely during the hearing. So I think that is something that we are still following up on. Meanwhile, court also issued criminal summons against, that is Bitature and his wife, to answer charges related to fraud, and Buganda Road Magistrate Court, that is Ronald Kaizi, issued the criminal summons requiring the pair to jointly appear in court, that is on March 5th of 2024. We shall be able to follow up on this, and this followed a submission by Bitature's lawyer, that was Robert Friday Kagoro, who claimed the accused persons were unaware of the charges. So I think this is something we are still following up on, and definitely we shall be able to really let you know when the right time comes, and to see to it that who exactly is wrong on this. And that is why you need to really also ensure that you be watching Western television, because this is when we shall be able to really also inform you, because we may not be able to inform you on right now, because court is now investigating on that issue, and final judgment by court, we shall be able to really break it over to you when the right time comes. So I think there's need for you to continue watching Western television, because definitely this is where we shall be able to really also let you know of what is happening in and around the world. So I think it is very, very much important for you to continue watching, that is Western television, because charges of fraud, really sometimes they're very much high. If you look at that money, that is a huge money, and really, and this is something I must say is still developing and has been there, and we shall be able to let you know when the right time comes, because if really this issue is solved, and then definitely we shall be letting you know maybe what happened, because for you to receive such a money, sometimes there need to be there's need for boundaries, because that money cannot just be given to you like that, and really what happened and really how you got the money and how you got accused is the thing that we are still following up on, and definitely when the right time comes, we shall be able to really let you know of what is happening and what happened. And that is why you must continue watching Western television, because the Kokoliriko live show that comes your ways every Mondays to Fridays from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. is definitely the #1 spot where you're going to get information and really also let you know of what is happening, because if you really is not part of that, then definitely certain issues may be able to really exclude you, and you will be able to be left out. And that is why each and every mornings we need to be part of this show, and that is why also we come in place and give you that information, and that definitely tells you how determined we are and how we are here in place to enlighten the region. And really that is why quite often we start off the discussions right from home, be it what, because East and West, we always say home is the best, and that is why the discussions always have to start from home. And that is why we started the discussion with the murder of one who was actually mistakenly murdered for a thief, and this is an incident that happened in Darfur. We did talk very much about that, and police already carried out post-mortem reports, and we are waiting for the final investigation, because when such issues happen, usually police comes out and carries out investigations and will let know of maybe what killed the man. Not really how he died, what killed him, but what he died of. And that is why post-mortem reports sometimes are very much important, because people may also really act very arrogantly. But now I must also call upon the families. Yesterday I did see the family members sitting down together, and now let us also wait for the law to take its course. If really you cannot sit amicably as families to resolve this matter, then court can take its course, because really I do understand you as the same people. And really with that, we are going to be running for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we are going to summarize the discussions with sports. And I did tell you something that really happened to our clubs, that is on the Kokoliriko Football Club, that has been summoned by FUFA for really not turning up for a game that was in Uganda Cup. This was in the round of 64. I will also really be telling you how this will greatly really affect our two clubs. And Arwahila has been demoted. That is also to the FUFA Big League. And that means that Northern Uganda in entirely will not be able to have a team that is at the Startimes Uganda Premier League this season, because they started the season, the first half ended, but due to the second, in the second round, they will not be able to really submit the requirements for them to continue participating. And one of the requirements was actually for them to submit the owner of the club, and that is why they were actually demoted. And for that more, we shall be able to really give you more when I return back, and I will be able to explain to you the discussions in relation to the sports. And then the sports updates will also really be coming later on, that is with Owen Ezaga, Linda Suzy, together with Raku Benson on the whistle time, that is from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. They will be able to expound more on this discussion there. But I must say what is happening to our clubs is quite sad. But for now, let me first run for a short commercial break, and when we return back, we shall be able to summarize the discussions with sports. For now, stay tuned watching Western Television. Thank you.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
AFCON, all 52 games live only on StarTimes. StarTimes brings you Africa's biggest football tournament, AFCON 2023, live in English and Luganda commentary. Starting January 13th, don't miss Mo Salah, Sadio Mane or Nana. Lead the hunt for gold as they take center stage. Renew your StarTimes subscription today and enjoy all 52 matches in HD live on Sports Premium and Sanyuka Prime. StarTimes, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2023. This message is powered by Techno, the official sponsor of AFCON 2023.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. We are still continuing with the Kokoliriko updates. And now so many things are happening, and to summarize the discussion with what is happening in the world of sports, I must say, starting off from Western Sub-region, really it is quite sad, and to sit with that, we shall not be able to watch the sometimes Uganda Premier League right from the land. And that is really, I must say, because one of the teams that was representing us has now been, that is relegated from the top tier league, that is of sometimes Uganda Premier League, to the FUFA Big League, which is the second tier of Ugandan football. And that means that this pride that we really boasted of for quite some time now is gone, because really we shall not be able to have a team that is really playing, that is at the sometimes Uganda Premier League. And this communication came in yesterday after Arua Hill really Sports Club failed to really submit the necessary requirements for them to be actually given the mandate to continue playing up the end of the season. That is to see that they really finish the season, which to me is quite sad, because maybe they could actually bounce back. I do understand the team has not been performing very well, given the fact that they have been having so many woes, that where we have seen the players really moving a lot, where we have not seen them actually doing so many things. We have seen them restructuring here in terms of the management, bringing new coaches, which to me was something I must say was quite good, because this showed us that there's a sense of direction, maybe because the coach that they have brought is somebody who understands the region, is somebody who understands the game. And really this was something I must say was quite good, because recently Arua Hill Sports Club did appoint, that is Sadiq Sempiji, who was formerly also one with them as the assistant coach, and really moved to that Mbarara City and guided Mbarara City back to the times Uganda Premier League. And we were of the intention that maybe the same could be able to really happen to him, and he could see him also guiding the team, that is Arua Hill Sports Club, back, because when under the guidance of that was of one of the coaches who was there, whom he assisted, he did see him also really doing very well there. Really, I must say, we are hoping that maybe this could be the right time for him to come and show his skills, that he can actually really be that coach that can guide the team back. And really, because the relegation struggles were still very much, and really we did see some of the players moving here and there. And now FUFA yesterday also through a communication came and said yesterday that the team has now been demoted, that is to the Startimes Uganda, that is FUFA Big League. And that means that really the team that has been playing, that is in Germany, because of failure to really meet the standard of the field, is now that has been playing, and to a Juma district, which to me has also been having its own negative impacts, because the team has its own fan base, mostly in Arua City. And really, this is something I must say has been very bad. It is a bad news really for this people of this region. And as we are talking about on Arua Hill also, another summon came in yesterday, as Ondoparaka Football Club has been summoned, and they face, that is disciplinary action, and that is for failing to really turn up for the Uganda Cup game. That was really something I must say was also really quite bad. So that is something I must say also really happened as our teams really continue, that is to really grapple in terms of stands, in terms of and where does that put our sports stand that we have been boasting of, because over time we have been talking about West Nile being the pride of sports. And remember, actually we are we are one of the teams that has been actually holding the FUFA drum, and that shows us that we have been champions, and that now we are not going to be having a team that is at the Southern Uganda Premier League. What does this mean? Because most of the players that was actually, they were the ones that were actually representing this team have moved. And what does this mean? I don't know what that means. And according to, that is a letter that we did see yesterday from the CEO, that's from FUFA to the CEO of Arua Hill, the decision on appeal of the FUFA Club Licensing Appeals Committee on Arua Hill Sports Club. And remember recently when this communication came, and Arua Hill actually had the right to appeal against this, and this is the final verdict that FUFA did pass yesterday. Reference has been made to the letter in which your club appealed the decision of FUFA to Club Licensing Committee, and FUFA appointed, that is, appreciates your effort to fulfill club licensing requirements to participate in the Startimes Uganda, to continue participating in the Startimes Uganda Premier League 2023-2024 campaign. Your request has not been considered, that is by the FUFA licensing committee, appeals committee. So the FUFA club licensing appeals has summoned, that is Arua Hill Sports Club, has really continued violated their obligations under the FUFA club licensing regulations. The decision of the FUFA club licensing committee is therefore upheld. So the club is therefore advised to prepare for club licensing in the men's second division league, which is the FUFA Big League. So on behalf of FUFA club licensing committee, that is information we got from the secretariat. That is Kiza Decolas and the deputy CEO for that of FUFA. So I think that is something we did see yesterday, and which was really quite shocking, because as people of West Nile Sub-Region, we didn't expect this. Maybe we were expecting that maybe they could, our club, because Arua at one time also gave us hopes that they are going to work towards this, because the new CEO actually, when he came in, and we did see hope in him, and now we are seeing things have not happened the way we expected. But really we can maybe go back to for big league and ensure that we really organize ourselves very good there, because if you look at the 4 big league, that means that West Nile Sub-Region alone will have 3 teams, that is of Middle Calvary. They will also be having, that is Onduparaka Football Club, and not forgetting Arua Hill, which has now been demoted right from the Startime Uganda Premier League and to, that is the second tier of the Ugandan football, that is the 4 big league. And what does this mean? It means that the competition is going to be very much stiff. And that means that also the funds are going to be divided. But in yesterday's communication through one of the officials from that is Arua Hill Sports Club, he actually called for unity among the fans, which to me is the way to go, because really we are the same fans. If you move to, I want to give the fans of this region an example of Italy, where we did have 2 teams actually using the same field. That was Inter Milan and AC Milan. At one time they shared the same football pitch, but the derby would actually be when the teams are playing, and this is where we could see them sharing the field, but then there was no much violence here and there, because they knew what the derby meant and how they handled the derby was in a mature way, because they did understand that the teams are the same, they are all from the same locality, and therefore had to really be together. And this is when we didn't see them actually sharing, that is the stadium, not to San Siro. So I think they had to really be all there together to sit Inter Milan and AC Milan share the same football pitch, which to me was quite good. And really, if maybe this is the way to go, and if maybe this is the time for these 2 teams to share one stadium, then I think it will be good, and really to see that if the fans unite. This is my own opinion, and I still feel that this can actually be the reality. And maybe if we can be able to put the differences aside, I do understand that the teams actually still have grievances and they still have wounds that are very fresh, as some people claim for their downfall to be on the other. But now the downfall of your brother has come. But sometimes it is good also for people now to also put what they think of maybe things that happened aside, and really continue moving on with the same spirit, that is of West Nile, and which to me is the way to go, because all these teams are in Arua City, all these teams make West Nile proud, all these teams make Northern Uganda at large very happy. So I think there's need, if maybe that time comes, and if the teams are to share the same football pitch, even if all 3 are to share the same football pitch, I think it can work, because at one time we have seen it happening, where one of the teams from that side came in and really was hosted and really played on this pitch here. So I think if the teams can be able to really put the differences aside, I do understand that the wounds are still very fresh, as the teams still continue to struggle. And maybe if they start supporting one another, then definitely we shall be able to really see our teams bouncing back. And then we shall be able to see our fans that have been very much passionate and very much ardent going back into the game, because due to what has been happening, we have also seen some of our fans at times also now moving away from that and saying they are done with football. I do have colleagues who have over time told me them and football, it is no more, because for them football is a game of heart attack when it comes to this West Nile Sub-Region. But I must tell you, these teams, what they're going through is just the financial crisis is too much for them to handle, because these are not institutional based clubs, and the funding that they get through them is actually used as funds. And if you continue moving away from them, because the money that you pay at the gates is actually what these teams are all relying on. If you look at all these 2 teams, mostly I want to concentrate on them, because at least these are the 2 teams I've over time been able to affiliate myself with. These are not institutional based, and they have been able to really rely very much on the fan base, and the fans have actually been the strongest pillars of these teams here. So I think there's need for the stakeholders now to sit and understand the mistake. And this goes back to the directors of these clubs, and really sit with that they go back to drawing boards and understand the problem of why maybe the fans are pulling away. Because right now, even if you look at the games, even if the teams are playing, you will not see that people filling the stadiums, which to me is not the way to go. We can rather go back really and ensure that maybe if we reunite and then put the differences aside. That would actually really be able to help the teams out. And remember, yesterday, FIFA disciplinary panel summoned that is on the Football Football Club for failure to honor a Stambik Uganda Cup fixture that is in the round of 64 against that is of Chambura Rastas in the letter dated 6th February 2024. It is indicated that in the match report that Onduparaka we are to play Chambura Rastas on 31st of that is January 2024, but the team unfortunately did not appear for reasons I do not know. And furthermore, the report indicates that the game did not take place and the team on our way did not really show up, and this is on the Baraka Football Club. So what does this mean? In the view of the above, FIFA draws on the Baraka's attention to the following provisions that is in Article 15 of the FIFA competitions rules. So all these are the summons that may be having an implication of the start, and that means that Onduparaka may have to pay some monies or fines, or else be docked, that is some points. And what really, if the team is to be docked that points, it means that the struggle maybe in the campaign will be able to drop down, because Onduparaka right now is struggling. It's not even in the top 3. We have seen them struggling this season, and really, and this is in most cases winning away games, which has been a greatest challenge for them. And really, when it comes to home, they still have a good form that is at home, and that is the Green Light Stadium, where the teams that really come there very much have to be prepared for maybe a loss or draw. And for them, we have seen them keeping that record. But when it comes to away games, this is where the challenges have been very much for them. So some of the disciplinary action that may be taken include that is deduction of league points, and this is where the 4 big league points may be docked. And really, this is something I must say it may be able to also affect the team, and also really monetary fines, and this is where fines can be slapped on them, and FIFA exclusion from the competition. And really, this is something very, very much, and not forgetting also suspension from the respective leagues, and not forgetting demotion to that is lower leagues. And really, where I think there's need for the teams really to ensure that this does not happen, because we may see also another team being demoted, that is the regional league, and where pressure is very much high. Because if you look at these lower leagues, I must say these leagues are very, very much competitive. To me, even more than the sometimes Uganda Premier League. If you look at the FIFA Big League, this is where it is very, very much competitive, where the teams have to move long distances here and there. Also, the funding also really sometimes it's quite difficult, and that is where we are coming to a closer with the discussions. And really, Owen Ezaga, Linda Suzy, together with Oraku Benson, will be able to give you more details of the sports analysis here and there. Remember, today we also do have AFCON games, and these are the semi-finals, and all that will be unfolding later on in the that is in the whistle time. That is from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. My name is Farish Majid. I really want to appreciate each and all of you for being part of the show, right from the time we began until this hour of the morning where we are coming to a closer. And I do very much also appreciate my producer and the camera person for always ensuring that we come and be the way we look. And if we look handsome to you, we do appreciate. But if you look Kwara also, it is also the same. But all in all, we come to really appreciate you. And that is where we come to a closer of today's discussion. In a special way, I allow me wish you a very, very good day, because today is Wednesday and we shall be able to bounce back. That is tomorrow for the Thursday edition of the Kokoliriko live show. For now, I'm signing out. Thank you so much.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region.